What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another very special PAX Online East edition of the Burnout Brighter podcast.
PAX edition.
PAX edition, where we've talked to a whole bunch of developers and saw a whole bunch of games so we can bring news to you about some of the coolest stuff we've seen. Today, well, not today, but right now, in this moment, in this video, we're going to be talking about Fractured Veil, a game coming from Paddle Creek Games. For anybody unaware, Fractured Veil is a survival online simulator. It's basically taking a bunch of stuff from MMOs and survival games and smacking it together.
My favorite stuff, my favorite mixed drink, okay? All day in the club, MMO, survival, yes.
Yes, they're doing so much in a world after the apocalypse. Shit went down, things are in a precarious place, and now you're playing in a world that is focused on just surviving. There are zombies and other mutants that you have to worry about. There are other players that you have to work about. This game will have PvP and PvE mixed in together in different ways. So they're doing a lot to try and make the game as unique as possible. They cited Rust as one of their influences, and from our talk, we learned a whole bunch of cool stuff about the game. So Destiny, one of the things that we learned, from the rep at Paddle Creek Games is how much they're trying to focus on PvE and PvP. And I think one of the ways that he phrased it was like they're trying to make the PvE players feel a little bit more of the PvP and the PvP players feel a little bit more of the PvE while giving space to both. And they're doing that in some pretty cool ways. I know you're a big PvE fan. You're not a big PvP fan. But how did you feel about what we learned about Fractured Veil?
Well, you know what? I liked what he had to say. I think it's good to challenge yourself a little bit. Like, I know I'm PvE, but maybe I need to challenge myself a little bit and do a little PvP. And I think the way that he brought that up was to talk about the 127, which is basically their fuel source, right?
Yeah.
So there'll be, was it 127?
So 127 is kind of like one of their very expensive currencies. It's not something you can buy, but in the game it helps you do a lot, and it's very scarce and hard to find.
So one of the things he said is that there'll be drops in places within the PvP world, and there'll also be drops in places within the PvE world. So a PvE player could go over to the PvP world. Just know you might get your ass handed to you. And a PvP player could go over to the PvE area. But one of the things I thought was really cool is how to keep PvP players from going over and completely trashing the PvE zone is that it's not really worth it. You know, if you beat up somebody who has who's a PvE player, they're not really going to drop the kind of things that you would need as a PvP player, which is important, right? Because why go kill something unless you're a troll?
Yeah,
I don't support that. But why go kill someone if it's not going to help you gain any skills? So there's kind of consequences. And then for a PvE player, which we don't usually go and pick fights, we don't throw hands like that. But let's say one of us got a little froggy and decided we wanted to go do that. Our weapons wouldn't really help us, right? They'd be all armored up and it'd be like a grape hitting a fist. I mean, like a grape hitting somebody's chest and not
grape fist.
I don't know what that is, but now I feel like we need to do something with Grape Fist.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's really cool how much they're splitting and focusing on splitting resources throughout the different ways. So in PvE, you're going to be getting a lot of resources to help you craft or to build or handle the enemies in the environment, while in PvP you're going to get a lot of things that kind of help you defend yourself against other players, and those worlds don't cross too much. Speaking about the 127, which you mentioned, in PvE you'll be able to go up against bosses and stuff, and they've said they've crafted some really interesting and cool boss encounters to help you get that. While in the PvP side, yes, you're going to be going against other players, and something that you'll be able to do is that you have to go there, get the 127, and make it back to your base, because you can get robbed along the way. Some players can actually make scanners and detectors that can help them find sources of 127. So if you're not careful just coming back to your base, you might get a little messed up. So
not even just from other players, but just from NPCs. If they notice you're carrying a lot of that, you're basically a beacon to be I want to get my ass beat. So you have to be careful. I feel like when I play this game, I'm going to be the ultimate queen, and I'm just going to have PvP players around me to do my stuff. That's how I like to play the game.
Yeah.
So I feel Queen D.
Queen D. And they're doing a lot to kind of make you feel like you're living in this world. And something that I found really, really interesting was that they focused a lot. They've been working on this game for 5 or 6 years now.
5 years, 5 or 6 years.
That they focused on performance and stability first. When they started developing the game, they were planning ahead for the types of graphics that they expected the world to be in 2021. So they're tacking on a lot of the shiny and cool stuff now because they wanted the game to be able to function properly when you get in and when you're able to join into the world and play it. So I feel that's really, really cool. So that way you're not, the first night, knock on wood, that everything goes live in their 1.0, you're not going to have a server meltdown because they've anticipated and planned for that in a way that I feel like it's really fundamentally in their base, which I find really, really interesting.
That's smart because he was talking about basically the graphics card they had to test it out on and thinking about the graphics cards that we're going to be using in 2021. So it still looks good. You're not playing a game that looks like it came out in 2018.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really incredible. And I just Matt, let's just say we're going on vacation we wanted to go to an amazing place. What's an amazing place that we could possibly go that this game is kind of showcasing?
The Arctic.
No, Matt.
Hawaii. Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool because they actually got topographical and map data, and they've kind of brought in pieces of Maui, at least the land structures, and they've obviously modified a bit to let people enjoy the game because it's it's not 1-to-1, but they've made it a little bit more interesting for a game perspective. So they're doing a lot there, which I think is really, really cool.
Cool.
We don't really see many games set in Hawaii.
We don't. And so one of the things that they said they're going to be trying to do in the future is putting in major monuments, because I was if you are from Maui, when you play this game, are you going to recognize stuff? And he was yeah, you might recognize definitely some of the landscape and things and the roads. And I was you know what, that's cool. Cause even though this is kind of fantasies kind of sci-fi-ish world, it's set in a real location. And I absolutely love when it's kind of scary. But it's also really, really dope.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot to kind of make the world feel alive. Something that he was talking about was that you can go ahead and drop your beacon, which is one of the ways that you claim land in a space, right? You can go ahead and drop a beacon, and that is your area. If you and your friends are playing on a server together, they can go ahead and drop beacons alongside them as well. And if you kind of start getting more than, I think he said 3 or more of these beacons together, you'll get a super beacon. You'll be able to make almost a small settlement where other players can actually come and interact with NPCs and be able to buy stuff. Yeah, so to their NPC settlements, which you can contribute to, but the player run ones, you'll be able to kind of almost generate a bit of an economy where people can come in and have a bit of a safe space. But what I found really, really interesting is that if you make a big fancy looking base and you leave it for too long, mutants and different monsters can actually roll up and put your place under siege and start messing it up if you're not carefully making sure that you're not generating too much noise, you're not using too much energy. Right. Exactly.
You abandon a place, then the wildlife and the zombies and the gargoyles, I don't know if they're gargoyles.
I don't know if they're gargoyles.
But the creatures, the barbarians, are going to come and mess your stuff up. So there's just a lot of thought that was put into this game to just make this a really good experience, and not one of those games I've tried Rust and I liked it, but it was so intense and overwhelming, and they really took that into account. They really want all types of players to enjoy their gameplay. Obviously there's going to be a bit of a learning curve if you've never played before, but the accessibility for this game seems really open compared to some of the other games I've played. So I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait till it comes out.
Me neither. And you can actually, I think, let me double check.
We should all play together.
I was going to say we should make our own settlement and hang out, because that'd be fun. Yeah, so the game is actually already so it will be out in early access. It's just, you got to wait a little bit. But one last thing that I want to bring to light, because I think is really cool, is he talked about how if you go and kill a zombie in PvE or a mutant and you leave the body there, other mutants can actually roll up, eat the dead mutant's body, and start to gain buffs and start to get stronger. So you actually have incentive to make sure you're clearing and burning bodies.
Don't be leaving dead bodies around. Plus, that's disgusting. It's biochemical warfare.
Right? It seems like they're doing a lot to kind of make the world feel like a living, breathing ecosystem, which I think is really cool. But Destiny, if somebody wanted to check it out, what should they do?
Go to Steam, guys. Not only do you need to go to Steam, like you can like look on their website, but Steam is one of the best places to go because you can wish list it. And as I
Wish
said
list.
always before,
Wish
that
list.
helps with the
Wish
algorithm.
list.
And if you
Wish
wish list
list.
it, that lets Steam know, hey, this game is getting pretty popular. People are talking about it. They're really interested in it. And it helps the developers. And helping the developers means that you're helping yourself because that gives them more incentive to make the game as amazing as possible for
Yeah.
you to enjoy. So
Ex-
please go to Steam, follow their Twitter, go to their website, support the game, guys.
Exactly. So
Help
please,
us help you.
yeah, go wish list the game. Looks like a lot of fun. We're super excited. We will be talking more to developers on our show in the future. We have episode 100 coming up with a bunch of prizes and cool guests. So keep it locked. Make sure you like, subscribe,
Guys,
and
we
share.
have so many people who are sponsoring our contest. You will not believe some of the stuff that we're going to be giving away. And the only way to find out is to follow us and stay tuned.
Yeah, that's right. Keep it locked. We'll have more information for you very, very soon. We have much more PAX content coming very, very soon. So make sure you keep it locked. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.